Hello everybody. Good evening, good afternoon. My name is Robert Hartigan. First of all, before we start, maybe you can just type if you can hear me while I present myself to you. Okay, so just type yes, maybe, if you can hear me. So Ivana, thank you, very clearly. Good, thanks Marta. My name is Robert. I work here for Pearson Dinternal as a senior academic consultant and methodologist for this company, and we do quite a lot of events such as webinars, seminars, both in Kiev and throughout the country as well. And I'm very, very happy, of course, to see so many of you for the final one in our series of webinars for this academic year. And just while we are waiting, of course, to start, today, of course, this week is a very, very nice week, of course. You know, we are waiting for our summer holidays. We really, really are waiting for them. They're nearly here. Tomorrow, of course, is the last day of school. While you're waiting to start, maybe for other people to join us, maybe can you please type into the chat box the name of your city and 3 words which describe your plans for the upcoming summer, perhaps. So we have Chernihiv, Kharkov, Odessa, Lviv, Poltava, Netyshin, Ivano-Frankivsk, Melitopol, and any plans for the summer? Any holidays, summer camp, fun, very nice, rest, that's great, Marta. Kamenets-Podilsky, hello Svetlana. Find new job, okay, good luck with that, yes. Slavyansk, to rest, fun, traveling, rest, okay, so lots of resting, of course. School summer camp, visiting the USA, Galina, fantastic. Hello from Kropivnitsky, summer camp, then rest. Oh, that's 4 words. So, lots of summer camp plans, which is a common thing now. A lot of traveling and plenty of rest, yes. Rest, of course, is really, really important. It's been a long year, a very long academic year, and we all need definitely some time to rest. Well, we have summer camp, yeah, and then a rest. But before we get started, which we will do in a minute, let me just tell you that after this session, a few days after our webinar today, we will be sending you some certificates, which you will be able to type in your name and then to print off as well. Oh, hello to Helen there and Sumi as well. So you will be getting those certificates in a few days, okay? And have you attended some of our webinars before this year? Or is this your first one? So quite a lot of you have been to our webinars before, which is really, really nice to see. So therefore, the first one I see there as well. So therefore, I think you will probably understand that we will talk together for about 30 minutes. We'll try to keep it to 30 minutes. And then after that, we can have a short question and answer session, if you wish, where you can ask questions about the webinar or other issues as well, if you wish. Okay, so let's make a start. And the topic, what we're going to talk today, is generally focused on vocabulary. Now, you don't need me to tell you how important vocabulary is. Actually, the importance of vocabulary is summed up very nicely in the following quotation from a linguist called David Wilkins. What do you think is the missing word here? Martha says vocab is the most important one. Yes. Without grammar, very little can be conveyed, but without vocabulary, what can be conveyed? Maria says nothing, and correct. Without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed. We do need words to communicate our ideas to other people. So that's why today, the title of our event is This is to discover the wider world of vocabulary. So we are going to look at ways of working with vocabulary in class, helping our students to understand and remember and use this vocabulary. Okay? During the webinar, we are going to look at some examples, of course, but this time we're going to look at some examples from a course book called Wider World. Okay, so Wider World is, of course, brand new to Ukraine, just came into the country just this spring, and this is an ideal book for students of the lower secondary school. So you can see there on the screen, Wider World 1 for students of the 5th class, Wider World 2 for the 6th class, and so on. Okay, sorry about the sound there, Ludmila. Maybe it might be something with your computer, I'm not sure. In Wider World and in our discussion today, we are going to try to look at ways in which we can help students to use vocabulary both fluently and accurately. And of course, as teachers, that is always our aim with vocabulary. But to use it fluently and accurately in written and spoken language. So always our aim is to transfer it from receptive skills to these productive skills. Now, of course, there's lots and lots of methods of teaching vocabulary, lots of methods of working with vocabulary, but for the moment we're just going to keep it very, very simple. The 3 stages: first of all, I understand. We want to present the words. We want our students to understand the meaning of new words. So I understand. The second is I remember. So after seeing a word for the first time, can you remember it? Well, hopefully with some time you can. And then thirdly, I can use. So these are 3 very basic stages in vocabulary acquisition: understanding, remembering, and using. Now today, as we have got only about 30 minutes, we're going to focus largely on the second step, I remember. We're going to refer to steps 1 and 3 from time to time, but mostly the topic or the discussion will be based on helping our students to remember and to recall vocabulary which they have been presented in their lessons. And as I said, some examples will be taken from the course book called Wider World. Now, so this is a big, big question here. If only we knew exact specific answers, life would be so much easier for us as teachers and of course for us as language learners as well. What helps us remember vocabulary? Well, I'm sure everybody has their own. I knew somebody, yes, would write associations, Maria. Of course, everybody has their own methods, their own specific methods. I like Ira's idea, lots of practice. I agree with that. We're going to look at 3 things today. And actually, some of what you are typing already related to images, reading, actually do appear under these 3 areas which we are going to look at today for helping students with remember vocabulary. The first stage, or the first step perhaps, is effective engagement. So basically by helping the students engage in the materials, engage in the material effectively. By that we mean that we emotionally involve the students in the vocabulary that they are learning and of course in the lesson that is happening too. So, right, to look at some examples of what I mean, how can we emotionally involve our students? Well, let's look at some examples from Wider World. So here, I think you can see one of the pages from the book. From looking at the picture there, what do you think is the main theme of the lesson? So we have a boy and a girl looking quite nicely dressed. What is the main theme? Wedding, says Tatiana, and love, says Svetlana. Okay, feelings, relationship, wedding. Yes, they are dressed, they are ready, they are preparing to go to a wedding. But we see here that the grammar topic is second conditional. So, right, we're going to talk about vocabulary today. This is a grammar lesson, but nevertheless, vocabulary does need to appear here because the grammar is presented in context, of course, and in order to understand the context very well, students do need to know what vocabulary appears in this context. So as teachers then, what do we do here? We can go through the vocabulary, we can explain the words to our students, bride, bridegroom. Look at this word at the end, page boy. So once again, we can, I guess we can explain this word to our students. We can maybe explain what it means. That's good. It can be a bit abstract. Or we could, some of you mentioned images and pictures. We could use that as a way of presenting this word to our students, and they can make the association, they can make the link from these cute pictures here to the meaning of a page boy. And again, that is emotionally involving. Students can remember the picture and possibly remember the word. So this is one way of helping students to remember vocabulary. Another possible idea is coming up here, and I'm just going to show you a very nice picture. And who is this lady? Is this Angelina Jolie, is it? Is that right? Or is it somebody else? No, oh sorry, it's Kate. Oh, Kate who? Kate, I forget her surname. Kate Middleton, yes. Thank you, Natalia. So we have a picture of Kate Middleton, and in a little while I'm going to show you a short text about her. But first, just have a look at the picture there. And what words would you use to characterize her style? How would you describe it? What do you think of her style? Smart. Yes. Charming, Olga. Casual. Okay, casual. A few casual. Smart, elegant. Smart, casual. Okay, right. And have a look at her again. Have a look at the clothes she's wearing. Do you think her clothes are expensive? Official. No, they're not expensive. Energetic. No, yes. Always. So a mixture of yes and no answers for that. Okay, so then let's see, let's find out. What we're going to do now is we're going to read and we're going to check some of your ideas. Okay, so this again, once again, we do the same thing with our students. Before we read the text, we can ask some questions to create interest like that. Irina says, oh so. Here is the text. Who is the queen of fashion? And we can see from this part of the text, she dresses in a more extravagant but affordable way. And her look is a careful combination of designer fashion with everyday clothes that can be bought anywhere in the UK. So extravagant style, but affordable. So some of you said that her clothes weren't expensive, and well, I guess the word affordable means that she can allow herself to buy them. So we predicted that, and we can see the meaning of the word as well in the text by the surrounding words. It's very good to have a glossary there as well, of course, but I think as teachers we should try to encourage our students to use the surrounding phrases, the surrounding sentences in a text in order to try to arrive at the meaning, and then they can use the glossary at the end to check. So again, in order to remember some of these words, we were emotionally involved with the content. And of course now we are working with a very different generation of students. New generations come along all the time, and this particular generation, I think we can call our students the Generation V. Generation V. Why do you think we can call them Generation V? What does V stand for? Those of you with the sound problems, maybe you can say if it's too loud or too short, or not loud enough, sorry. So visual, generation voice, generation virtual, you're close, something we watch maybe on the television, something we watch on the internet. We like to watch lots of videos, Daria, yes. Okay, so the visual generation is close enough too. There's VIP generation, yes. It's so easy to access different videos now, of course, online, and students do that a lot in their free time. So maybe sometimes I think maybe they want to watch some videos in class as well. And one of the good things about Wider World is it does have a heavy video content which can be used to reinforce both the topic of the unit and of course the vocabulary that appears in it as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you one of the videos from Wider World. I'm going to show you part of one of the videos. It's quite short, it's only about a minute. This type of video is called a Voxpop, and a Voxpop is a video which is an interview from ordinary people who are walking through the streets. So basically the BBC, together with the people who made Wider World, went to the streets of London and asked ordinary passers-by questions about different topics connected with the unit of the book. And all of this together is good authentic English, which we can use with our students to reinforce what we do in the lesson. Now the video I'm going to show you comes with a special task for you. Okay, so you have something to do while you watch. As you watch the video, can you please try to guess what type of vocabulary is being practiced? Okay? Right, so let's watch the video. This one. Tell me if you can hear it, please. Or let me know if you can't hear it, rather.
How do you feel when you're not sleeping well?
When I don't sleep well, I feel tired.
Exhausted. It's the one word I can really say when I'm not sleeping well. I feel absolutely exhausted. Just really down as well. Because I enjoy my sleep, so...
When I'm not sleeping well, I feel tired.
When you make a silly mistake?
If I make a silly mistake, I feel really embarrassed. Get red in the face and everything. And
When you're watching a horror film?
When I'm watching a horror film, I feel terrified.
When I'm watching a horror film, I feel scared.
when I'm watching a horror movie, I feel very on edge. Trying to anticipate what's going to happen at any moment, but obviously not too sure, so get quite scared.
When your team is playing?
When Barca are winning, I feel excited.
When Monterrey is losing 5-0, I'm pretty disappointed.
Okay, so right, so you've all had some really good answers there. Emotions, feelings, and we've had some really detailed answers. Adjectives, ed and ing. Yes, exactly, and we can see them here. These are some of the words that they used. I think we heard embarrassing, frightening, tired as well, and of course the people on the video used other words. One of the guys mentioned exhausted. He said he feels on edge when he's watching horror films. So that simply exposes our students to extra material and extra natural authentic language. You can see too from these videos that the passers-by are from different countries, which just, again, is very good for training our students in getting used to hearing different types of English. These are some of the questions which you heard. So how do you feel when you're not sleeping well? When you make a silly mistake? So the people in the video answered those questions, and these questions here come from that page of the book. So we can use these Voxpop videos perhaps before we ask our students to discuss these questions together. By watching the Voxpops first, your students have like a template or an example of what they should try to aim for when they are discussing these questions. And today it's almost the last day of school, So I have a special question for you. Maybe you can type in very, very quickly. How do you feel when it's the last day of school? Sad, I'm sure. Is that right? Oh, sorry, I was wrong. Great. Tired, yeah. Happy, hooray. Okay. The same, okay. Pleased and happy. So lots of positive feelings there. Great. Now, so those were the BBC video interviews which were done with ordinary people in the streets of London, and they are regularly available throughout the course book of Wider World. So we looked at ways of effectively involving or effectively engaging our students, and another way of helping our students to remember vocabulary is by cognitively engaging them in the content and in the material. By cognitively engaging them, we mean that they use their brains to try to work things out for themselves sometimes, that they are involved in what they are doing and not just simply being told and being given the meanings of words. By being cognitively engaged, that means they're involved, therefore they remember a bit better. Now, here, to show you an example of what I mean and how we can do this, right here you can see a question mark. I am going to show you a word in a few seconds. I know that you know this word, but pretend that you are students, okay? You are my students for the next couple of minutes. Do not type the meaning of this word into the chat box, okay? Let's not do that yet, or do not type the Ukrainian word either. But this is the word, and we're going to try to cognitively engage ourselves to figure out what this word means, okay? The word appears in this text. It's a text about crime, and it's about crime facts from all around the world, okay? So let's have a look. Hong Kong, okay, has some strange and strict laws. For example, it is illegal to play music in the streets. If you are a busker, it is certainly not the place for you. So, what do you think your students can work out the meaning of busker from reading this paragraph? I think they can. So, it is illegal to play music in the streets of Hong Kong. So, again, as we said before, by using the words, by using the phrases and the sentences around the difficult vocabulary, students have a good chance of working out the meaning for themselves. As you said, it's a street musician, it's a person who plays music on the streets. Again, by being actively involved, there's a better chance the students will remember the word because they have worked hard to achieve its meaning. Other examples of cognitively engaging students is by doing quizzes together. For example, here we have a fashion quiz where our students ask and answer different questions based on fashion. For example, so our students in pairs, maybe I ask my partner, do you prefer a striped shirt or a checked shirt? And in order for a student to be able to ask that question, he needs to know what he is asking. So he needs to know the meanings of these words. Perhaps he can prepare for the quiz in advance with his partner. They can check the meaning together, or maybe he can check some of these words in his dictionary. And then when he's asking and answering these questions with his partner, of course, if I answer this question, I prefer striped shirts, of course, because I'm wearing one today. For when I say that sentence, that means I am practicing, I am using the word, therefore helping to commit it to memory. Okay? So quizzes, letting students work out meanings of words for themselves are good ways of helping the students to be actively and cognitively involved in what they are doing. So that is step number 2. And step number 3 won't be very surprising. As some of you who said earlier before, it's repetition, repetition, repetition. Repeating, revising words, vocabulary that appear in our lessons. So ideally we would like to provide our students with plenty of repetition, but how much revision and how soon should we help our students revise new vocabulary? Well, according to research, you should see a new word again 1 minute later, 1 minute after you have been presented it. So I guess for us as teachers, that means when you are presenting a long list of vocabulary, when you're presenting the fourth word, go back up and revise the first word you presented. Do they remember it? Again, we should repeat new words 5 minutes later. Okay, so maybe at this stage in the lesson, students are doing maybe vocabulary practice, for example, maybe controlled practice. We should repeat the words 20 minutes later. Okay, we should repeat them 2 hours later. So it might be difficult, that one, for us as teachers. I don't think we can go into the history class and ask our students to repeat the words. We should repeat the words 24 hours later, 48 hours later, a week later, 1 month later, and 3 months later. So this is how often that new vocabulary should be repeated by language learners according to research. And only then, only down at these later stages, we can say that we can maybe know words and use them more freely. So this is called the spacing effect, and as you can see, the way we learn, repeat and revise vocabulary is spaced out at periods of greater lengths as time goes on. So in order to see how we can do this in class, we're going to have a look through one of the units of Wider World 2, and this is the unit of the book. This is the third unit, as you can see. And what do you think is the topic of this unit? The topic is clothes and fashion. Yes, exactly. So first of all, with our students, we can see maybe what clothes they already know. They might know some from their previous lessons, and then we can introduce new vocabulary. And we teach these, we present these to our students. And however, in order to help our students remember these new words, we need to get them to do different types of practice. This particular vocabulary topic lends itself very, very well to categorizing. Here we have got 4 categories which students put the words into, either basics or maybe more active clothes for more active activities, clothes for parties, or accessories. So for example, let's try it. What about hoodies? Which category would you put them into? Basics, active, party, or accessories? Number 2, active. Says Ruslan. Active, a lot of you are saying active. Yeah, hoodies are generally associated with sport, aren't they? So, okay, let's try another one. Where would you put this one? Leggings. Leggings would go into category number 1, says Katerina. Basic, a lot of you are saying basic. Some of you are saying active, some of you are saying party. Okay, so, okay, what is our aim here? Is there one single correct answer? Perhaps not. But what we want to be able to do is we want our students to be able to explain and to justify why they have chosen a particular category. If a student can logically explain why he put leggings into category 1, for example, then that's fine. By doing this task, the student is thinking about the word, making decisions about the word, classifying the word, and justifying the meaning of the word. And that's another way how language learning takes place. Necklace would probably go into basics. Am I right? Oh no, I'm not right. It's category 4 or category 3. Yeah, parties or accessories. Okay, well done. Very good. Another possible type of activity which we could do with this vocabulary is the odd one out. How does this work? Basically, the teacher can dictate 3 words from one category and 1 word from another category. The students then have to say which one is the odd one out. And I am going to do this with my students as a dictation. Okay? So I can simply read 4 words to my students. They write them down. on a piece of paper, so we are checking spelling, and then they simply circle which one they think is the odd one out. So for example, I can dictate these words: boots, sandals, scarf, wellies. The odd one out is Natalia is in there first, and she says scarf, and she is correct. Very nice. Another way of doing this is that I can dictate 4 words again, but the students are not allowed to write them. They only write down the word which they think is the odd one out. That's quite a lot more challenging. So the students only write down the odd word out. Let's try an example. So into the chat box, only write the odd one out. Okay? So, are you ready? Where are my words? Oh, there they are. Okay. So, raincoat, pullover, leggings, sweatshirt. Raincoat, pullover, leggings, sweatshirt. Natalia's in first again, and the answer is leggings. Okay, very good. Well done. We have presented different nouns, different clothes items. Next, we have adjectives to describe clothes. So adjectives and nouns are going together. Again, it's a nice idea to categorize the adjectives into the correct column. For example, polka dot would go into column number, what do you think, number 2, number 5. Polka dot would go, is a type of pattern, so that would go into category number 5. What about baggy? Baggy could go into column number, baggy would be column number 3, I think, Irina. Yes, yeah. Smart, a smart appearance, category 1 or 2. Yeah, okay, good. His general appearance, or your opinion about his appearance. Again, what are our students doing? They are justifying their answers as they go along, and that helps language learning. It is good as well, of course, to help our students, or to encourage our students, to add more words to different categories. So what extra words could our students add to these categories? Skinny, baggy, what else could they add? So maybe we get our students working together, and they could add extra words such as loose fitting, loose, yeah, okay, or tight, skinny, tight. Yes, Oksana, you're reading my mind. Yes. Or this category, denim, cotton, and what else could we add here? Wool, yeah, silk, okay, very nice, woolen, leather. Or the third category, necklace, bracelet, and leather. Yes, oh, earrings, that was all very quick typing there. Okay, ring, yes, or earrings as well, of course. Or if our students want to broaden the category of accessories, they could add scarf or glasses as well, if they wish to broaden the category. So we have done quite a lot of work with nouns and with adjectives, but we know very well as teachers that words do not exist in isolation. Words go together. Words are friends. I really like how Wider World entitles this part. In this section of the book, Wider World makes students very aware of collocations, either adjectives and nouns or verbs and nouns that go together. For example, here we have again some words connected with appearance, fashion and appearance, and the task for the students is to complete the phrases with the correct verb. For example, number 1, a pale complexion. That would be to have a pale complexion, yeah, and to be good looking and so on, and to wear a wig, to wear jewelry, and to wear glasses. Yes. So our students, by having such phrases, such collocations, by being aware of these, when our students speak, they come across as being more fluent speakers. And as well, of course, when students are preparing for exams, they need to be aware of collocations for different types of use of English papers that appear in exams. What we can also do, either in the same lesson or in a few lessons later, is we can get our students to categorize the collocations, the word friends. We can draw 3 columns here on the board, or the students can draw 3 columns in their notebooks. The teacher can dictate some words, and the students write the correct category. So if I dictate the word wig, I simply say wig, and students write it down into the correct column, column number 3, yeah. and so on. Slim, painted nails, and so on. So once again, by doing this, we're exposing students once again to the words. We are repeating, which helps them to remember the vocabulary. So we've looked at this page in quite a lot of detail so far, and we've looked at different extra types of tasks that we can do with our students. There is more here as well, which we haven't looked at yet. This is another text where we can see some of the vocabulary, which we have already seen, repeating itself in another context. And of course, by vocabulary being repeated in different contexts, that helps learners to remember it. So the lesson is over. 2 or 3 lessons there in those 2 pages of the book, so that those have gone, and then we are in the next lesson again, which is a grammar lesson. And we can see here present perfect continuous, and that's surely a tense that every student wants to learn at the end of May, I guess. Yes. So it's a grammar lesson. And can vocabulary reappear in this lesson? Well, I think it can, because we can see the topic of the lesson, or the theme rather of the lesson, is fashion shows, and the previous lesson which we had on vocabulary was based on fashion again. So when the students are reading the text or watching the video, they will there's a good chance that they will hear again, or that they will use the vocabulary of the previous lessons. And by the way, the grammar here is presented through drama videos, where the main characters of the book have these different situations, and the grammar appears in context, which you can watch together in class with your students. And moving on again to the next lesson, we see here at the top, reading and vocabulary, a bad hair day. I hope I'm not having a bad hair day today. But again, what's the topic? Fashion. There's a good chance that the vocabulary will be repeated, and of course we can see here there's some new vocabulary highlighted, so the students are getting extra vocabulary added on to their lexicon. And that's how it goes. More grammar in the unit later on. We can see again the context is clothes, fashion. Oh, thank you, Katerina. And at the end then we have listening and vocabulary, where the students listen about the Museum of Fashion in Britain, and here again there's definitely going to be plenty of opportunities for them to use the vocabulary that they already, I would say, know pretty well by this stage. So what's happening here, as the unit goes on, the students are getting more and more chances to repeat, revise vocabulary which is presented in the early parts of the unit, and it comes up and it appears again later on throughout the unit in all of these different sections. So the students are remembering the vocabulary 1 minute later, 5 minutes later, a few days later. That's a special effect that we spoke about. When what's the missing word? We spoke about it, the different ways that students remember vocabulary. They need to be exposed to it. They need to try to remember the vocabulary. We call it the spacing effect, Tamara, yes, where we try to repeat the words a minute later, 5 minutes later, a week later, and so on. Okay, very nice. Right, a couple of more things. The unit ends with the word list, and these are all of the words which appear just in that unit of the book. You can see there, I think, that we have the word itself and of course the phonetic transcription, so that it's easier to pronounce the words. Now this is all very, very nice, and I like to refer my students to this to these word lists quite regularly, but what I want as well sometimes is I want to give my students some tasks. I always want a way that they can actually use the word lists, make decisions based on the words in the word lists. For example, I would ask my students to find 4 things that they can wear on their feet, and they can either remember or they can look into the word list to help them remember. So for example, 4 things you can wear on your feet. Maybe somebody can help me. Maybe shoes. I cannot think of any more. Socks. Yes, shoes, stilettos, well, not me. Trainers, boots, sandals. Yes. Okay, very good. Or can you think of 4 different types of patterns? Oh, we had some of them today. We had polka dot. We had some others. Can you think of any more? Checked, striped. Okay, we're getting there. Yes. Okay, and so on. And this one here as well, maybe a floral pattern. Now, they're very nice tasks which I can use with my students to help them use the word list and to help them remember vocabulary. They are not my tasks. I did not think of those tasks. The book itself, the word list in the book, comes with tasks to use together with it. For example, we looked at this together just now. We looked at, this is another one you can do, 5 things that are part of a jacket. We've got a hood, maybe sleeves, and so on. So the students are actively engaged, definitely and cognitively engaged in the content of the word list here. Now, so we've mentioned quite a lot about videos with Wider World, and we said earlier that it is written together with having access to the BBC materials, and we spoke about Wider World's video content. Every unit in Wider World has a short BBC documentary type video based on the topic of the unit. The topic of this unit, as you have seen, is fashion. So we're going to watch part of a very short video about London Fashion Week. And the task which I have for you is to listen very carefully, if the sound is good, and to try to tell me, or to type into the chat box, 2 types of footwear which are mentioned in the video. Okay? So are you ready? Right.
Most people like fashion and buying new clothes. But how do you know what's fashionable this year? You can look in magazines, but if you want to know the latest trends, go to London Fashion Week or watch it on TV. There are dresses and shorts, baggy clothes and tight clothes, clothes for the day and clothes for the night. Some models are wearing high heels, and some are wearing flat shoes or no shoes at all. But one thing is always the same. The clothes are all very expensive.
Okay, so we had high heels and flat shoes. Very well done. Okay, now the video is a little bit longer than that. I just played a short part just so you can get an idea. I'm really, really sorry about the bad sound. Perhaps it might be the sound in your computers as well, which maybe you could turn up as well. So that is a BBC video, a documentary type video from each unit of the course book, and the workbook comes with extra tasks for these videos, and as well the workbook has got the full video script of those BBC documentaries. That is what we can see on this page here. So students together can maybe use the video script while they watch the video. We can read the script together in class. We can check the meanings of the words that they don't know. And here in this blank space on the right, students can maybe write down the translations of some of the difficult words. So there's a lot which we can do with those videos. So we're coming to the end. But before I go, I just want to ask you, I think, 2 questions to see how carefully you have been listening. Okay? So as quickly as you can, I'm going to show you a picture and you have to write down the word, okay? And whoever is first, maladies. Okay, ready? Right, so what is this word? We had it earlier on. Who is first? No, a page boy, Tatiana. Well done. Tatiana was first there, I'm afraid. Okay, so that one's a page boy. And the next picture, okay? Are you ready? As quickly as you can again. This time you need to write down 2 words, okay? So that's quite a lot of typing. 2 words which describe Kate's style. Who's first? Affordable, extravagant, Tatiana. And affordable Maria, I think, yes. Okay, so yeah, well done, very good. So extravagant and affordable. Okay, extravagant but affordable. So, sorry, what we have looked at today is we've looked in quite a bit of detail at the coursebook Wider World, and we've seen how in many, many different ways it helps our students to remember and to practice new vocabulary while at the same time revising what they have already done in the lesson and in previous lessons. We've looked at ways of effectively engaging them through their emotions, through making it memorable. We've tried to look at ways of cognitively engaging our students by having them work out meanings of words for themselves based on the context. And of course, we've looked at many different ways of revising and encouraging our students to revise the vocabulary that they have met in class. But I just want to draw your attention to the cover of the book here. What do you think these things are in the cover? What are they? Are they mountains, or what are they? These spices, maybe? Paints? Ice cream. It's summertime, Janina, yes. So these are actually paints which are used for the Festival of Colours by different people in India. So that's where that comes from. And I want to draw your attention to another picture as well, Wider World 3. And what can you see exactly on the cover of the book there? What are they? They're cars. Yes, hill cars. Trucks and cars, yes. They are cars, they are Cadillacs, which come from the Cadillac Ranch in Texas. There's 10 or even more than 10 cars, I think, which are down like that, face down into the sand. And people can just come along and paint them however they want, or take the photograph next to them. And that just shows some of the amazing things we have in our world. And just one or two things as well. I know that summer is coming. And we all want some new hobby for the summer, isn't that right? So may I suggest a way of spending your summer? Maybe somebody wants to go slacklining this summer. Have you ever tried this? In high heels, would you like to? Maybe, maybe not. Oh no, Svetlana doesn't. Or maybe some of you want to try a new type of dancing called Seros. Has anybody done that? Has anybody heard of this? So that's another very new type of dance, I think. And finally, maybe some of you are a bit even more adventurous than this. Maybe some of you want to climb Mount Everest this summer, but you don't know, will there be Wi-Fi there? It's too high. Yes, it's very, very high. However, if you do, or if somebody does go up all the way to the top, believe it or not, there is Wi-Fi in some areas up near the peak of Mount Everest. So it'll be very easy for you to update your Facebook status and let your students know what you're doing. So that's just some of the interesting information that I have found in this book. Okay, so I think it's almost time to finish there. We had a look at Wider World, which was for the 5th to the 8th classes, written together with the BBC, and it has got these 3 different types of video content. On the top there, we looked at the Voxpops, the interviews with ordinary pedestrians. It has got BBC documentary videos for each unit of the book, which are connected with the topic of the unit. And finally, there are the drama videos based on the lives of the main characters in the book, and that is where the grammar is introduced as well. So that is Wider World, and these are our websites if you would like to have a look at some more information about us and about what we do. Please look at our websites as well, and the recording of today's webinar will be available quite soon, I think, on this particular website here, eltdinternal.com.ua, and that is where you can also have a look at other different materials for ZenAO. You can look at the other previous webinars that we've had, You can look at our latest materials that we have for different schools, and also on our website shop Dinternal.com.ua. You can also have a look there at different materials which are available for your teaching situation as well. So for my part, that is the end of the webinar. Thank you very, very much for taking the time to attend at this summer period, where I'm sure you're busy with plenty of things. So thank you very, very much for attending, and hopefully we will see you soon, sometime, somewhere. And I would like to wish you all a very happy summer, and hope you get plenty of that much needed rest that you all said you needed at the start. In the meantime, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box, and we can try to deal with those as well, if you wish. Oh, thank you, Ruslana. You too. And you probably have heard of this competition, Hello from My Hometown, which you can see more information about on our website, eltdinternal.com.ua. It's a competition for students to write about their hometown, and there will be winners. The prize, of course, is you get 3 native speakers in your school for a full day. They'll teach all of your classes, so well worth entering, and do have a look on our website there for more details. The next seminar, as far as I know, will be available already, perhaps in the coming academic year, perhaps late summer, September time, maybe a bit later. But I think for the moment that this is the last webinar rather, for this current academic year. Oh, sorry about that, Dari, but you can come back next year. So, Julia, certificates will be sent by email in a couple of days, okay? And you will be able to type in your name and then to print them off if you wish, and you can then add them to your portfolio. So they should be available in a few days. So there we are. Thank you. That's the details for the competition there. Right. Okay, so if there are no questions, then once again I'd like to thank you very, very much for attending, and we will see each other again very, very soon. So thank you very much and have a very good summer. Okay, bye-bye.